Okay, today we're going over test 18A09 in the math section, questions 26 through 34. Let's get started. The first and second terms of a certain geometric sequence are 10 and -5 respectively. What is the fifth term of the geometric sequence? Okay, so the first thing you have to understand here is what a geometric sequence are. There are two sequences that are commonly talked about in the ACT, and the first is a geometric, and the second is an arithmetic, or arithmetic. What you just need to understand about those two is the geometric is when you multiply from term to term, and arithmetic is when you add from term to term. So since this is a geometric sequence, that means that to go from 10 to -5, to get from there to there, the only way we can do that is by timesing by -1/2. Which means my next term is going to be +5 halves, and my next term is going to be -5 fourths, and then +5 eighths. Let's see, and what are we looking for? We're looking for the fifth term, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So H is our answer there. Alani works 8 hours per day, 5 days each week at a custom embroidery shop. Each day, Alani paid either $1 per shirt that she stitches or $10 per hour, whichever daily amount is higher. Alani stitched the following numbers of shirts: 60 on Monday, 52 on Tuesday, 85 on Wednesday, 80 on Thursday, and 90 on Friday. What is Alani's total pay for these 5 days? Okay, so the first thing to figure out is, for each day, is she getting paid per shirt or per hour? So since it's an 8-hour day, and it's whichever is higher, right? Which means, at bare minimum, since she's working $10 per hour, she should get $80. Obviously, if the number of shirts is more than 80, she will go with that. But for most of these days, for Monday, it was 80. For Tuesday, it's 80. For Wednesday, she did make more than 80 shirts, so she is going to get paid the special per shirt rate. Thursday, it's a wash either way. And Friday, she made 90. Okay, so you add all those up. Or you can just say 80 times 5 plus the extra 5 and the extra 10 is 415C. Okay. Which of the following most precisely describes the roots of the equation? When they're talking about roots, what they're talking about are, you take the equation and you break it up into its roots, right? So on the one hand, you can take these two pieces and put them together in what we call foiling or distribution by parts. What we're doing here is the reverse of that. So we know that the only way to get a 5x squared is you got to have a 5x and an x. And then 2, it's got to be 1 and 2. And the question is, how do they get together? Well, together they make 10. So what's going to add together to make 7? It's going to be 5 and 2. So you have the 5 be opposite the 1, and the 2 be opposite the regular x. And then, yeah, when you FOIL these back together, you get your 5x squared, you get your 5x, and your 2x, which together make 7x, and then you get your 2. So those are the two roots. And what's going on here is we're asking, is that one rational double root, one irrational double root, two rational roots, two irrational roots, or two complex roots? Well, these are both rational numbers, and so you're going to get H, two rational roots. Paula is planning a course for a bike race. The course is in the shape of a right triangle as shown below. Participants will begin at A, ride directly to B, then directly to C, and directly back to A. Paula wants to put the rest stop halfway point on the course. How many miles past B, that's a key there, past B will the rest stop be? So we can look at this up and say it's a 5, 12. Well, that's a 5 squared plus 12 squared is going to equal 13 squared. Or if you have that memorized, that's a 5, 12, 13 triangle. If not, 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. 169 equals c squared. 13 equals c. Right? So, the question then is, where's the halfway point going to be? Well, the total course is 5 plus 13 plus 12. 5 plus 13 is 18, plus 12 is 30. So total course is 30 miles. Halfway point then is going to be exactly 15 miles. But it's not asking how many miles past A, how many miles past B. So 15 miles, we already done 5 this way, so we've got 10 more, and there's a halfway, so it's 10 miles past B. Okay, question 30. Adams High School has 120 students, and 1/3 of the students are taking literature. Of the students not taking literature, 1/4 are taking composition. No students are taking both literature and composition. How many students are taking composition? Well, real quick, we can say if we have 120 students and 1/3 are taking literature, then we know that 120 divided by 3, 40 students are taking literature. Okay? Which means we have 80 students not taking literature. 1/4 of those students not taking literature, 1/4 of them are taking composition. Okay, well, what's 1/4 of 80? That's 20. How many students taking composition? C, or GN. For what value of x is the equation square root of x plus square root of 9 equals square root of 36 true? This one is a very tempting one to just do with your eyes and just do your best bet and hope for the right thing. That's how people mess up. Okay? Literally, you have to do this way you do an equation. How do you get x alone? Well, the first thing you're going to do is get rid of the other pieces. So subtract root 9. Now, I know root 9 is 3. And I know root 36 is 6. So I can subtract 3 from both sides and get the square root of x is equal to 3. But again, I have to solve x. So I swap sides and get x equals 9. Now, at first glance, it's surprising that the square root of 9 plus the square root of 9 is the square root of 36, but that is the way it works out. So D is the answer. In the right triangle, ABC shown below, the length of BC is 12, and sine of A is 3/4. What is the length of AC? Okay, well, if the sine of A is 3/4, we also know that the sine of A is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, which in this case, that means the sine of A is equal to the opposite of A, which is 12, and then the third side, which is, we don't know, AB. But now we know that that's going to be equal to 3/4. So now we can cross multiply and get that 48 equals 3AB, divide both sides by 3, and get that AB is equal to 16. Well, if this is 16, then we can do a Pythagorean theorem where we say AC squared plus 12 squared equals 16 squared, which means that we're going to have 16 squared minus 12 squared gives 122. 112. That doesn't show up, so we can do square root of 112 and get 10.5. Does h equal 10.5? 4 root 7 is the same answer. So that is the same thing as the square root of 112. So h is our answer. Okay. What integer does 3 log base 2 of 4 equal? Log base 2 of 16, I mean. Well, remember the logs. It's saying 2 to what power equals 16? Well, I know off the top of my head that 2 to the 4th power equals 16. Or I can always do my log rule, which is the log of base A of B is the same thing as the log of B divided by the log of A. So in my calculator, I can put in 3 times log of let's see, 16 is on top, 16 divided by the log of 2, and we get 12. Okay? A bag contains several marbles on 3 successive draws with replacement. So with replacement, that's important. A red marble is drawn from the bag each time. Which of the following statements must be true? Anytime you're looking at a must be true, what you're really looking forward to is can you prove 4 wrong? Okay? So at least marble is red. The fact that we pull the marble out kind of proves that at least marble is red, but let's still prove 4 wrong. Exactly 1 marble is red? Well, what if instead the bag had, 8 red and 1 blue? Is that possible? Yeah, and that would make sense to pull 3 reds in a row. So we can prove that wrong. Exactly 3 marbles are red. We just proved it wrong again. All the marbles red. No, we said we can have 1 blue in there and it would still be possible to pick out 3 red in a row. The bag contains more red than other colors? Maybe. Or maybe it was 3 red and 4 blue, and the person just got lucky, or unlucky as the case may be, and happened to pick the 3 red in a row, which means the only one that we know is true is F. Okay? Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.